Welcome back. Now, the New York Times deputy editor has hit a breaking point with Twitter trolls. John Wiseman announced that he's sick of all the anti-Semitic tweets that he's getting and frustrated by Twitter's initial response to the abuse. In his goodbye message, he said he is leaving Twitter to the, quote, racists, anti-Semites, and the Bernie brothers who attacked women reporters yesterday. And he is moving over to Facebook. Now, it looks like Twitter changed its initial stance toward the trolls. Brian Stelter joins me now with more on the story. And Brian, okay, John Wiseman, this deputy editor of New York Times, we know that he called out the trolls. He reported them. And before he left the platform, Twitter did nothing about it. Why?
Yeah, he says that these accounts that he would report as abusive were not blocked. That's why he decided to quit the platform, head over to Facebook instead. But once he did that, and once there was press attention about that this time yesterday, some of those accounts he reported were blocked, were shut down by Twitter. So it seems the company was belatedly responding to his concerns. His concerns were rooted in an article he retweeted weeks ago about Donald Trump. It was a critical article about Trump, so these trolls seem to be pro-Trump trolls. But keep in mind, we see abuse and we see harassment on Twitter from many ugly corners of the internet, from pro-Bernie Sanders supporters, from anti-women people, misogynists, from sexists. In this case, these were anti-Semitic tweets, but we've seen many kinds of hateful and disturbing messages shared on Twitter, including terrorist tweets or terroristic messages, either from groups associated with ISIS or people that are sympathetic to ISIS. So Twitter has problems here on all sorts of fronts, and it has admitted it's been slow to respond in the past.
Yeah, online abuse can come in many forms. It's definitely an issue for Twitter. Wiseman says he's now moving to Facebook. But, Brian, is Facebook better? Is it a safer, friendlier platform than Twitter?
Well, his argument is that it is somewhat safer and friendlier because you have to use a real name, because you have to sign up with a real name so you're identified, so you can't be anonymous. Now, there are some ways around that on Facebook, and certainly I myself and many others have seen ugly messages posted on Facebook as well. But Twitter does have a unique problem here because of the ease of use and because of its commitment to freedom of expression. You know, this is a very, very complicated tightrope that Twitter and other social networking companies walk. They want to make sure they are open and accessible to everyone, and that you can have as much free expression as humanly possible on these sites. And yet, obviously, there are severe downsides and consequences that come with that. I would argue that Twitter is probably having a hard time growing, in part because of this harassment problem, because so many people know that there's so much ugliness on the site. CEO Jack Dorsey again last week acknowledged he knows it's a problem, he knows Twitter's been slow to combat it in the past, and he's trying harder than ever to fix it.
Now, this is a new wrinkle in an old story about, free speech, the tension between that, and, of course, online abuse and harassment. Brian Stelter, we really appreciate your insight on this. Thank you so much. Take care. We'll talk.